LA This Week.
You may be surprised at the number of people who admit to texting and driving. And now the family of a young woman killed in such a crash advise people not to do it. I'm Gil Reyes with the story next.
City of LA employees spend their lunch packing lunch for others. We'll explain next. Many residents in the West Adams district were saying not in my neighborhood when it came to low-income housing. But one new condition helped them change their mind. The story's coming up. Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. LA soccer fans can rejoice. LA finally has its own soccer stadium as well as its own team. The $350 million project was built in a record 3.5 years at the former site of the LA Memorial Sports Arena. Anna Marcos takes us to all the fanfare and festivities.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A grand opening extravaganza as LA gets its own soccer stadium. The Bank of California Stadium at Exposition Park will become the home of the LAFC, the Los Angeles Football Club of Major League Soccer.
This is good news. At a time when we need a place where everybody belongs in LA, and everybody belongs at LAFC.
My office was so adamant working with the team, insisting on local hire positions, especially on a project of this magnitude. I'm also proud of the fact that minority and women-owned businesses made up 37% of the suppliers and vendors to this project.
The big man himself showed up. Magic Johnson, one of the team's owners, was on hand to cheer his team on.
And just like we were able to turn the Lakers around into a championship team, we're going to do the same thing with this great soccer team, LAFC. We will be champions one day.
20 years ago, there weren't any soccer-specific stadiums in LA or most of the country. Now, soccer fever just may take over the land of football.
We've come a very long way as a country. We've become a soccer nation.
We are building the foundation for this sport in the United States and Canada, brick by brick and stadium by stadium.
The 22,000-seat stadium is intimate, though still large enough for champions to play ball in. And it will definitely put LA in the game.
And there's a couple of kids, at least right now, kicking the hell out of a soccer ball into a wall somewhere, dreaming of one day playing in this stadium.
I was the one kicking the ball against the wall. I was the one hoping and praying to play in a venue like this.
Turns out, Major Leaguer Nomar Garcia-Parra didn't just play ball in the big leagues. He is now part owner of the team, playing in the venue he dreamed of. The hope is that more LA children and fans will catch soccer fever to make LA a true soccer capital. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
LA's new soccer stadium will see a lot more than soccer. Musical concerts like the upcoming Wango Tango concert in June will use the venue, and the LAFC has established its own foundation to help train and mentor kids in the community. If a hard-hitting new ad won't stop people from texting and driving, maybe one mom's story will. Gil Reyes has more on this National Distracted Driving Awareness Month.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this?
The Automobile Club of Southern California hopes their newest commercial drives home the message. Texting and driving can kill. The family of Deanna Maurer knows this all too well.
She was my world. Now I don't look for days to be happy. I have to just get through the days.
Deanna's mom says her daughter was killed when a driver who was texting rear-ended Deanna on the 405 freeway back in 2011. The National Highway Safety Administration says every day distracted driving kills 9 people nationwide and injures 1,000 more.
Victims of this are not just the motorists. They're the individuals who are walking down the street or are driving legally, and they become victims.
Deanna, a softball standout at San Jose State, had just graduated when her life was cut tragically short. Today, the back of her parents' SUV is a shrine to her memory and a reminder for other drivers to focus on the road.
I just want people to know that not only the life that they may take, or lives, but the lives around that person as well is taken. My life was really taken that day.
And if that weren't enough, the first texting and driving offense can run upwards of $200 when you add court fees on top of that. There was also a bill pending in the state legislature that would add points against your driving record for every offense. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
A recent AAA survey finds 45% of drivers admit to reading messages on their phones while driving. The LAPD reminds people that if caught, they will be cited. Well, everyone can do something to help the homeless, from volunteering to accepting supportive housing in their neighborhoods. One city agency took time out of its busy schedule to prepare meals in between work. Gil Reyes shows us what's cooking at the city's personnel department.
The agency that usually sorts through piles of job applications for the city of Los Angeles sorts through something else today. Stacks of ham, lettuce, and cheese made into sandwiches and stuffed into sacks.
Lunch bags that we'll donate to the homeless of our community. We've partnered with the LA Mission and the Downtown Women's Center.
The City of LA's Personnel Department packs 400 meals for downtown's homeless in between work.
Today, we started around 11, but we're going to have different shifts come in. People are coming in and basically volunteering their lunchtime to come in and help out.
LA City's Personnel Department really stepped up. In just a month's time, they raised some $1,500. Half of it going to all this food, the other half going to a group called #lunchbag.
We're using bag lunches and these handwritten notes to acknowledge the people that we're feeding, but also as a way to acknowledge our own humanity and to just show people how easy it is to just kind of spread love and kindness.
The bottom line on this lunch bag, for example, reads, quote, "Your life matters." The LAPD also here to lend a hand.
And of course, we said no problem because that's, something that the police department likes to do is help people.
Delivering a different type of human resource, human kindness. From the City of LA's Personnel Department in downtown, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
About 120 personnel department staff prepared meals, donated money, or both. The hope is other workplaces will take similar actions to help their homeless neighbors. Ever consider a career helping the homeless? As Gil Reyes reports, more than 1,000 positions have opened and employers need to fill them.
Luck may be changing for job seekers searching for careers helping homeless people find housing and services.
I've been looking for a job for a few years now, and I don't know if it's my age or because I haven't worked since 2012, but I'm not getting any response.
The good news is more than 1,200 positions have opened up. Groups like the LA Housing Services Authority are hiring. They're at LA Trade Tech College looking for talent.
You've got every kind of job. You've got jobs with these organizations as accountants who have to handle the funding. You've got social worker jobs. You've got food distribution jobs. You've got housing counselor jobs. It runs the gamut. We need all of these jobs filled to tackle this issue.
Many of these positions opened with passage of Measure H, the bond measure to fund more services for the 58,000 unsheltered people living in LA County. Another employer is the LA Centers for Alcohol and Drug Abuse.
This is probably the best job fair that we've ever had, with actual potential job seekers that are really eager to start the workforce.
The job fair has ended, but the hiring continues. Log on to lahsa.org/jobs for a list of paid positions still available. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Well, don't be discouraged if you haven't landed anything yet. You're encouraged to keep applying. A new beginning for dozens of formerly homeless residents in the Valley. The new Fiesta Apartments are just part of a long-term solution to fight homelessness. Anna Marcos takes us there.
A festive housewarming in North Hollywood as the Fiesta Apartments open for business, providing 49 homes to formerly homeless residents. Not long ago, Joseph Montoya lived under a bridge with his brother.
I was homeless for 15 years in the streets. Me and my brother, we lived everywhere from houses to empty houses to under bridges. We lived in a bridge. Now I have a place of my own. I do have a key. key to open the door, you know.
Fiesta Apartments are the latest supportive housing project built with Prop HHH funds, which provide money to build 10,000 new units for the homeless in the next 10 years. The site was once the home of an old motel and later a homeless shelter.
We envision providing ease of access to medical care, and we envision providing people with a permanent home. The new Fiesta Apartments is that home.
To end homelessness, we need to go beyond providing beds for one night and beyond providing the bare minimum. What we need is long-term and thoughtful strategic solutions to put housing first.
This is going to be a campus. This is going to be a community. And this is the way to do it.
City Council members have all signed on to Plan 222, a pledge to build at least 222 homeless units in each of their council districts over the next few years with Prop HHH money.
We all need to do our share. Every single neighborhood needs to help and solve the solution of homelessness.
This neighborhood just came up with 49 new solutions. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Most people want more supportive housing to help LA's homeless, but oftentimes not in their neighborhood. One community used to feel that way until a compromise with the city was reached. Gil Reyes has details.
When it comes to building supportive housing for homeless veterans, some people might say, not in my neighborhood. But these residents in the West Adams district say yes.
I think it's going to be an asset. I like the idea, and it's beautiful.
All right. The city breaks ground on Ybarra Village, a 64-unit affordable and supportive housing complex. Half of the units will be reserved for low-income seniors, the rest for homeless veterans.
And I really appreciate the fact that people want to recognize that veterans need help. So in Los Angeles County, we have 4,800 homeless veterans on the streets. That's an increase of 57% from the year before, and that's just tragic.
The complex, with counseling, job training, and health services on site, took years of negotiations to get area homeowners on board.
Being able to convince neighbors that it's okay to bring a different type of population into the neighborhood, it's difficult, and it takes a lot of conversation to be able to get there.
Eventually, a compromise was reached with the help of City Council President Herb Wesson. Residents who earlier had tried to block the project now said they'd support it if low-income senior housing was included.
And we talked and we talked and we talked. I wanted senior housing. Herb Wesson said, well, let's make it seniors and vets, and everything else is history. Okay. And so now we're here, and this is wonderful. I see people out here. I saw some of my neighbors out here.
Our biggest problem today are siting projects and getting support from the community. What we are hopeful of is that we will inspire people throughout the city of Los Angeles to recognize if you want to deal with the homeless, if you want to address the housing crisis, we have to begin building complexes like this throughout the city of LA.
The Ibarra Village complex is expected to open in late 2019. In the West Adams district, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The site is being co-developed by the Cesar Chavez Foundation and New Directions for Veterans. Parents had the chance to spend time with their children while learning about important child safety information. Rasha Goel has more on a recent event at Pershing Square that educated parents on the importance of car safety.
They are our pride and joy, but are we fully informed when it comes to our children's car safety? The Pershing Square Mobile Youth Program recently provided parents with a car seat safety informational workshop along with some fun activities for the kids.
The number one killer of small children, toddlers, children, and teens is car crashes. Kids are not restrained properly, they're not put in their car seats right. Some are not even using car seats.
The event was held in conjunction with Kids Are First, a local nonprofit, and State Farm Insurance. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 8 out of 10 children passenger safety seats are installed and used improperly.
The thing is to read the instructions, the manual that comes with this child passenger safety seats. And another very important tip is to not use a second-hand one, because these seats, they have a history. If they have been involved in an accident, they may not do their work appropriately.
In addition to valuable tips, parents had the opportunity to get their child's ID card.
Kids doing their fingerprints, so just in case your kids get lost or somebody take your kid, then you'll have that protection.
A fun afternoon of priceless information on taking care of the precious little treasures in our lives. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
For more information on car seat safety, you can check out kidsaretfirst.org, go to a fire station, or make an appointment with the CHP to make sure your child's car seat is installed properly. Well, weeks of preparation all came down to this: a bridge building contest to determine whose creation could withstand the most pressure. The students involved were under pressure too, but as Gil Reyes reports, they also had a lot of fun.
5 kilograms. 10 kilograms.
Exactly how much weight can the miniature bridge up top hold? Arleta High School students Oscar Herrera and Christian Sai spent weeks perfecting theirs through a lot of trial and error.
I personally made about 25 bridges. I hope this one is my final one and holds.
31, 32.
Another tough break at LA's 17th annual bridge building contest.
Really, what's important in the contest is what's called the efficiency. It's how much weight it can hold divided by the weight of the bridge.
Students from 8 LA schools worked with mentors from the Bureau of Engineering to create their bridges made of wood sticks and glue. The competition is co-sponsored by the American Society of Civil Engineers. One goal is to encourage more young women and minorities to consider careers in engineering.
If that means working for a great organization like the City of Los Angeles Bureau of Engineering, we wholeheartedly encourage that.
It's a bit stressing and also fun, but for me it's super fun because I love this kind of thing.
Reporting from Boyle Heights, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Congratulations go out to Team Dragon from Robert H. Lewis High School. They took first place in the efficiency category. Team Kool-Aid from Arleta High, the two teens interviewed in this piece, took second. Both teams won all expenses paid trips to compete in the international competition held in Chicago earlier this month. You may have heard of World War II internment camps in Northern California and in the Central Valley. But did you know our own San Fernando Valley had one too? It's a hidden piece of LA history. As Gil Reyes reports, a new signpost aims to educate people.
City leaders unveil the sign, a permanent reminder of World War II injustices in the San Fernando Valley. We are in Tujunga, the former location of the Tuna Canyon Detention Station.
At a time when our country is faced with just incredible treatment towards our immigrant populations, this is a very important reminder of why we must never repeat history.
Just beyond this fence, some 2,000 people of German, Japanese, and Italian descent were imprisoned between 1941 and 1943. Many of these people were Americans. The sign goes up so people will never forget this past injustice.
This is not ancient history, and we cannot act as if we've moved on, like this would never happen again.
Toyosaku Komai, the former publisher of LA's Rafu Shimpo Japanese newspaper, was one of 120,000 Japanese Americans imprisoned in camps nationwide during World War II. The fear was they might have been enemy sympathizers. His grandson, Chris.
He was discarded. People can say, well, he wasn't beaten or anything like that. No, he was treated indifferently. That they just forgot about him. So by the time he comes back, he's a shell of himself.
Many ex-prisoners who've since passed away had kept Tujunga's past hidden out of shame. But now their children and grandchildren are on a mission to reveal the truth.
Many times we come here and you feel the breeze. I feel them telling me their stories, their heartaches, and encouraging me to continue.
Nancy Oda from the Tuna Canyon Detention Station Coalition is also pushing for a monument and education center at the location, now part of a golf course. Talks with the city continue. For now, we have the sign. In Tujunga, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
LA City leaders declared the site a historical cultural monument in 2013, but no signage has gone up until now. Mayor Eric Garcetti's budget proposal targets two of the city's biggest issues. City leaders raise awareness about issues that impact people with autism, and outdoor learning becomes part of the school day at one local elementary school. All these stories in Citybeat. Mayor Eric Garcetti unveiled his 2019 budget proposal, a $9.9 billion spending plan that would more than double the city's investment in the fight against homelessness and put tens of millions of new dollars into street, sidewalk, and traffic safety improvements, while continuing to strengthen the city's fiscal foundation. The budget will invest more than $429 million in permanent housing, temporary shelter, services, and facilities to help homeless Angelenos find their way off the streets and into homes. That represents a 140% increase over last year and includes the $20 million plan to build emergency shelters across the city. Los Angeles celebrated Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month at City Hall, with officials and community leaders speaking about efforts to include and embrace individuals with autism, reducing stigma, and face future challenges. The estimated 60,000 people with autism who live in LA face both opportunities and challenges as they interact with our community. Officials say the city must not only celebrate these Angelenos, it must also address the many barriers autistic people and their families endure and the need to accommodate and support them.
All individuals impacted by autism deserve a life of inclusion, self-determination, opportunity, and to achieve the highest quality of life possible.
Kids at Malabar Street Elementary celebrated the opening of their new outdoor learning center. Councilmember Jose Huizar and LAUSD officials held a ribbon cutting for the new green space, which includes bench seating, a walking path, and drought-resistant plants. Several unused bungalows on campus were removed to make room for the learning center. The idea for the outdoor center came from parents who fundraised, and the city pitched in to help.
We need to provide them more green, more areas for them to run around in the grass, trees. That helps the environment, helps with health, and it also just makes them feel more comfortable. You know, it makes them feel more focused on their learning, which is why they're here in the first place.
An ambitious plan to refurbish walking paths around Little Tokyo has community members excited. Gil Reyes reports on what's in store for one of downtown's most touristy areas.
If you already love shopping, eating, and sightseeing in downtown's Little Tokyo, just wait till these street enhancements are finished.
On Los Angeles Street, through Toyomiya-take, down Azusa Street, over to Francis Hashimoto Plaza, through Japanese Village Plaza, over to the Japanese American National Museum.
Area stakeholders and Councilman Jose Huizar kick off $5.3 million worth of improvements. Coming to Little Tokyo, several new crosswalks, 22,000 square feet of sidewalk repairs, and 50 new curb ramps.
Making it more accessible and friendly to pedestrians and connecting to the rest of downtown LA.
An extended pedestrian walkway will finally connect the Japanese American National Museum to the Go for Broke World War II monument. And you know that slip lane on 2nd Street and Alameda? Well, that's going away. Look for public art instead, for a more pleasant stroll through one of downtown's most leisurely neighborhoods. In Little Tokyo, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Also coming are more than 100 new trees, 2 new traffic signals, and 56 streetlights for more visible nighttime strolls in between all that shopping, dining, and playing. Well, come out and celebrate Cinco de Mayo in the city. Sink your teeth into some of the best tacos LA has to offer and do your part to make sure everyone is counted in the next census. All this in this week's Things to Do. Cinco de Mayo weekend is a celebration of Mexico's surprise victory over the French forces in Puebla, Mexico in 1862. The weekend festivals features popular and traditional music, exhibitor booths, cultural dancing, and plenty of delicious Mexican food. The events take place at El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument May 5th and 6th from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Taco fans, listen up. The 9th annual Taco Madness Festival kicks into high gear, serving up some of the best and tastiest tacos in town. DJs will have you on your feet while you watch artists bring their creative vision to life. It all takes place Saturday, May 5th from 6 p.m. to 12 at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. Help come up with solutions to make sure everyone gets counted during the 2020 census, especially hard-to-reach populations. Participants will be asked to design creative solutions, technological or otherwise, to make the 2020 census survey more accessible and engaging, especially for those that will be hard to survey, including immigrants, racial and ethnic communities, children 0 to 5 years, renters, college students, individuals with limited English proficiency, and people living in poverty. Some solutions may include mobile apps, outreach toolkits, easy-to-understand informational material, multi-language translated material, easy-to-navigate website or digital tools. An accurate census count translates into equitable political representation in Congress and billions of dollars in federal funds for vital social programs and services in the city and county of LA. The Census 2020 Hackathon takes place Sunday, May 6th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Los Angeles Public Library, located at 630 West 5th Street. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacitybeat.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.